All right, thank you so much everybody for joining today. We're very excited for having everyone here. Thanks again for taking the time. Just a couple housekeeping items before we get started. So everyone on this webinar is muted, just for simplicity and the smoothness of the webinar. There is a section on the right side to be able to ask questions. Let's make it as interactive as possible, although we will answer all the questions towards the end. So, please keep them coming. Let's make it as informational and interactive as possible. We have also added a key few links that you can refer to and some resources like the data sheet, some marketplace links, etc. That will help you throughout the presentation. If you want to look at them now, you can. I would encourage you to look at them later so you can refer to them at your leisure. With that being said, let's get started. So thank you again, everybody, for taking the time today and joining us on this webinar. We're very excited to share some key use cases and technology benefits on how you can automate your organization's processes, particularly highlighting some of the key components using the Coupa and Workday applications. We call them snaps and snap packs, and you'll learn a lot about it today, and I cannot wait to get started. Some of the key use cases around Coupa and Workday we'll be highlighting are procure-to-pay and order-to-cash. So with that, I wanted to introduce today's speakers. I'll start with myself. My name is Nakul Mistry. I'm the head of technology partnerships at SnapLogic. I manage a lot of the ISV relationships and technology partnerships here. So if you have any partnership questions or anything, I'm your guy, and you can reach out to me anytime. We also have Rich Dill. He's our Global Enterprise Solutions Architect. Rich has been with the organization for over 7 years. He's very excited to present some of the technical aspects and bring some of the expertise to you guys throughout the webinar today. And lastly, it's Jim Cantrell. He runs our business development and strategy. He joins us about 3 months ago, and we're very excited to have Jim. And he's going to talk a little bit about digging into, from a buyer standpoint, what procure-to-pay really means and highlighting some of the key use cases. With that, let me start with a short introduction of SnapLogic. So SnapLogic was founded in 2006. We have over 200 employees globally and offices around the world, with our headquarters being in San Mateo. Some of the other offices are in New York, London, and India. We've raised over $130 million in funding, and we're growing tremendously. We're very excited for this growth. We have over 1,300 subscribed customers that use our platform today in a variety of industries and verticals, customers like Adobe, Amgen, Emirates, AstraZeneca, Box, and others. And we're gonna touch upon some of the key customers. We'll have a slide so you can refer to them as well. I wanted to highlight that some of the key leading research organizations like Forrester, Gartner, and G2 Crowd have recognized SnapLogic as a leader in the integration platform as a service. SnapLogic platform is #1 in productivity, completing integration projects up to 10 times faster than any other platform in the market. The ease of use, the self-service nature of this platform, the interface makes it super intuitive, very easy to use, pretty much with the no-code, low-code mentality. Any business citizen user can use it, jump on it, and start using the platform. We are #1 in connectivity. We have over 500 pre-built snaps. Some people call them connectors. We call them snaps. These are pre-built by us. They help you connect your enterprise and orchestrate and automate some of the processes. Whether your data is structured, semi-structured, unstructured, we can help connect your entire organization, connect any application. Our platform can be run behind the firewall, which is on premises, or in the cloud, making it easy to connect a variety of applications, whether they're on-prem behind the firewall or in the cloud. We are also #1 in enterprise and scalability, processing over 1.3 trillion documents a month for our customers. And we've also been named #1 in modern analytics with one unified platform that includes our AI and ML capabilities, which Rich is going to dive into when he showcases a little bit about the demo. With that, SnapLogic is trusted by hundreds of enterprises across the industry, whether it's technology, retail, healthcare, finance, higher ed, and many more. Our partner ecosystem also consists of technology partners and SIs. We have partners like Coupa, Workday, ServiceNow, Box, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and many, many, many more. So I wanted to share this slide. It gives you an understanding of how you can automate your processes and connect your enterprise, whether it's SaaS applications, whether it's Internet of Things, whether it's order to cash or procure to pay, it's hire to retire. No matter what your use case is, SnapLogic is here to help you fix it and get rid of any complexities that you might have. So this really gives you a holistic picture of how SnapLogic is able to disrupt any use case or issues that any organizations may be facing today. Here are some of our representative customers. As you can see, I mentioned we're very horizontal. We have customers in all sorts of industries: technology, healthcare, financial services, hospitality, and so many others. Logos like Adobe, Workday, Box. We've got IKEA. In the hospitality and food business, we have Wendy's, McDonald's, and Yelp, and so forth. So we are very much the productivity and scalable application that supports all these organizations today. With that being said, I wanted to hand it over to my colleague, Jim Cantrell. He's going to walk us through and double-click into some of these customer use cases. Jim, on to you.
Oh dear.
Jim, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So we analyzed 7 customers, and on average, these customers reduced the time it took to build and launch integrations to 1/5 of the time it took before using SnapLogic. Customers were able to go to market faster, reduce the time spent on building integrations, and more time on higher value tasks. Box was challenged to efficiently integrate the many cloud-based applications used by its employees. Their goal was to aggregate data piling up in the various applications in a cloud-based warehouse for self-service predictive analytics. The intelligent surface from this exercise would inform decisions on generating better sales and marketing campaigns, among other uses. Before SnapLogic, Box had built 4 integrations in their first year. Using SnapLogic, within the first 2 weeks, they had built their first integration and on average now build 20 integrations in that same time frame. Box also processes more than 15 million transactions each day through the SnapLogic platform and only need 1.5 developers to maintain the integrations. GameStop, on the other hand, GameStop is a global video game and consumer electronics retailer. They have 7,000 locations. Now, after multiple acquisitions, GameStop ended up with different systems for financials and real estate-specific data. Rising data center costs also drove the goal of getting to the cloud within 5 years. Finally, its growing millennial workforce in IT wanted self-service. And what they achieved after beginning to use SnapLogic is integrated analytics across multiple acquisitions and locations, reduced rising data center costs by moving to the cloud, empowered self-service integrators within their subsidiaries, and reduced integration time by 83%. Now, Adobe recently underwent digital transformation throughout the company, and as part of their effort, needed to digitally connect its processes and the applications and data frameworks that supported these processes. Adobe has formed a center of excellence to serve more than 800 users' integration needs, and as a result of using SnapLogic, it can now onboard more than 100 suppliers per month, which is 4 times faster than it did before using SnapLogic. It has also reduced process complexity by 40%, and the Center for Excellence for Integration has received a 90% service satisfaction score. The Coupa Snap, which you see before you, the Coupa Snap makes it easy for companies who use Workday financials to exchange data with Coupa. The Snap also supports other applications such as SAP and NetSuite and other platforms. Now, using SnapLogic, buyers can exchange data, any data needed to support processes such as procure-to-pay, procure-to-order. For example, master data, invoices, supplier information can all be exchanged, and it can be done inline, adding connections into areas such as data warehousing and productivity tools as a way to increase the value of the incremental integrations. Order-to-cash scenarios for selling organizations are also supported. For example, organizations that maybe are running WebSphere, Hybris, Magento, or other e-commerce platforms can use the Coupa Snap to connect e-commerce platforms to their Coupa customers in support of requisitioning or punch-out. Subsequent orders, invoices, and other documents are, of course, also supported. And we also support, incidentally, expense management around SAP Concur and Expensify as well. And many organizations, of course, have legacy, odd requirements, different types of integration challenges and hurdles that they have to overcome within their workflow. The platform, as you will see in a moment, supports common and unique scenarios. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Rich, who is going to dig a little deeper into what integration with SnapLogic looks like.
Thanks, Jim. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for some of your valuable time. We're going to make it meaningful and worthwhile. I'm the technology guy in this Three Musketeer suit. So SnapLogic is an integration platform as a service, or an iPaaS product. It's a subset of software as a service. So any of you that are familiar with things like Coupa or ServiceNow, you know, SnapLogic is just another application that you can use in the cloud, behind the firewall, or both, as you can see from the left. SnapLogic's approach towards integration is it should be straightforward, it should be simple, it should be fast, it should be efficient, it should be a better, faster, easier way of doing things than using more primitive technologies. SnapLogic has the advantage of being a clean sheet of paper. Gurov learned a lot building Informatica, starting two guys in a garage in 1991, building it to a public corporation, billion-dollar public corporation after the turn of the century. But during that time, he gained a lot of information and insight, both to technology and business, but they also recognized that the world had changed. And so he took some time off and started SnapLogic as a fresh approach towards doing integration, not just data integration, but moving data from applications, devices, file systems, protocols, pretty much anything. So any point to any point, pretty much any volume. All right. So we can do transaction processing, supporting mobile applications, or we can move petabytes or exabytes of data across the globe in a highly efficient manner without writing boatloads of code or spending a lot of time on expensive consultants. So this means that you have more people doing more work more efficiently, which is the hallmark of the reason that people buy us. So if you're going from Coupa to Amazon or Coupa to Workday, you would use what we call a Cloudplex. And that's nothing more than a compute engine that is assigned to a particular customer. So AstraZeneca has their own Cloudplex. GE has their own Cloudplex. That e-commerce retail site up in Seattle, they have their own Plex. So Plexes are single tenant, and so only GE's data is going to move in their environment. But customers also have legacy systems. They may have applications behind the firewall, so we need to support a cloud-to-ground integration. You've got stuff that you want to put into Coupa that may exist on legacy SQL Server or legacy application, or migrating from a cloud application to Coupa. M&A and migrating from more primitive technologies or legacy technologies to cloud solutions is, just another thing that we do better than anybody else. Finally, we have customers who have to adhere to extremely strenuous privacy and security laws around data. We've been operating in Germany for 6 years now, handling very sensitive data because we can do ground-to-ground integration. All right, there's a data center in Hamburg, Germany, that's processing data, reading it from SAP, processing it, and writing it to Oracle or Teradata or vice versa. All of that processing happens inside that data center. Heck, even the logs are located locally. And SnapLogic stores no customer data, so GDPR and all the rest of those privacy requirements and whatnot, they were cake for us because we don't store any data. I mean, it's just a big advantage for us. Most of our customers deploy what we call a hybrid environment, where they want to support excuse me, all four cloud or data movement. They want to go cloud to cloud. They want to go ground to cloud, cloud to ground. They want to go ground to ground. So a hybrid is where you have SnapLogic deployed in the cloud, like AstraZeneca. They have a Cloudplex that handles their cloud integrations. Then they have a Groundplex in Virginia, one in Dublin, one in Germany, one in Tokyo, and so we're able to respect not only Einstein's rules of engagement as far as physics is concerned, but also regulatory requirements of keeping data in-house. So to us, data is data is data, and I'm not talking about one of the officers on the enterprise. I'm talking about the fact that we can consume just about any kind of data. I tell customers, give me a port, give me a protocol, give me an IP address. I will connect to that source. I will acquire that data. I will process it, transform it, format it, and deliver it to a target without writing boatloads of code, and I'm going to do it faster and easier than anybody else. So whether it's a file system, ancient as a mainframe, or as modern as HDFS or S3 or Azure Blob Storage or anything in between, whether it's APIs, again, both old style like SAP or more modern APIs, we can interact with IoT devices, and of course, we can move data en masse. We have one customer who has one of the largest data lakes on Microsoft's Azure platform on the west coast of the United States. It's well over 6 petabytes of data, and every bit of data that's in that data lake got there by guess who? Us. And we do it very efficiently for large-scale customers around the world. So we can run behind the firewall to support on-premise use cases. We can do pure cloud environments, or we can support the hybrid model. And we can move data as you need it. SnapLogic is a REST-based technology, so any application that can execute a REST GET can get data from us. Conversely, any application that can do a REST POST can send data to the SnapLogic platform. So it's incredibly easy for this technology to be implemented and to be embraced and used effectively in virtually any corporation, because a REST GET and a REST POST is about as simple as you can get to get data into and out of the system. And again, it can be done on a triggered task, real-time or event-driven model, where some event occurs and it invokes SnapLogic. We're going to acquire that data, process it, and work on it until we're done. All right. So real-time and event-driven, all of those are capable. We support streaming things with things like JMS, RabbitMQ, Kafka, and all the rest of those messaging protocols and brokers, so we can handle data at speed, and we're talking high volume data at times. And finally, we have good old batch jobs where, every hour, every 5 minutes, or once on Sunday, we want to run a job that takes a bunch of data, does a bunch of stuff to it, and puts it someplace else, and you just want to automate that process. That's what we do. Okay, so enough of the show and tell. Let's do a demo. Okay. Excuse me. So everybody should be seeing what we call the designer here in SnapLogic. I've got 4 questions in here, so let me just jump in and grab the first one. How long does it take to implement your platform on average? Well, as you heard from the experiences at Box and GameStop from Jim and references from the Cool, I can tell you that customers have integrated SnapLogic in production in anywhere from days to weeks. So when we talk about customers onboarding SnapLogic, we've had customers literally build integrations during a 2-day training class. Now that tells you the ability for companies and people to acclimate themselves to this environment very rapidly. I tell customers that you are comfortable in SnapLogic in hours, you are productive in days, you are experts in weeks. So depending on the number of endpoints, the complexity of your business logic, and the support you have of the infrastructure providing services and whatnot, you can implement a SnapLogic and have it in production in less than a month easily. Okay, so with that, let's jump back into the demo. So as you can see here, I'm using a Chrome browser. I have 3 panes or tabs in the SnapLogic development environment. I have the designer where I go in and I, not surprisingly, design my integrations as visual components known as snaps. More on that in a minute. All right, because SnapLogic is an integration platform that services a worldwide organization, we need to do things like integrate with SSO, we need to have support for multiple users, accounts for dev, test, and prod. So all of those resources, logical and physical, that have to be defined, managed, maintained, and all the rest of it, you use, not surprisingly, the manager, okay? The dashboard is how you see what's going on in your SnapLogic world. You'll see here that these are all of the processing resources that I have scattered around the globe for doing data lake processing, for API management. Rory's over in the UK doing something with Windows. I've got a Groundplex enterprise. I think that one's in Chicago. So these are all the processing resources that I have available to me to run my integration jobs. And here's a smattering of jobs that have run recently. Most of them have been successful, but a few of them, the red doesn't mean good things have happened. You can see here it says fail. All right, this guy's got a little warning in it, so we might want to take a look at the log files and see. So as you see, it's a very easy to use, very quick to comprehend environment. So let's go back to the designer. The key architecture of SnapLogic is the snap. What's the snap? The snap is a task-specific software component that abstracts the method of connection, transformation, routing, whatever. Whenever you want to connect to a source, you have to go through all kinds of hoops to define your account and validate it and connect to it and get all the metadata and all that stuff. We make it easy. All right, so we organize snaps by their function. So whether it's a protocol, an endpoint like Coupa, whether it's a database, let's say like Oracle, or another application like Workday, okay, to us, data is data is data. So file system, application interface, database, don't matter, don't care. I'll connect to it. We talk to the vendor or the protocol API. So I'm not running in Workday. I'm not running in SQL Server. I'm not running in Coupa. I'm talking to their API. So if I want to leverage design time introspection to identify what options I have, what services, what objects, what functions I can create, I'm going to grab a snap and I'm going to drag it on the screen and drop it there. All right. Now, if I wanted to leverage design time introspection, meaning that I want to know, tell me a little bit about yourself. You come here often. You know, what's your what's your file system? What's your security protocol? Whatever. All of that information requires I need to have a live connection to it. So now when I go into the Coupa read snap, you can see here that I'm getting constant feedback of everything that I do in this environment. And how are we doing on time-wise? I think we're in good shape. Okay, so here's the Coupa read snap. And when I click on the Coupa API name, what's SnapLogic doing? Guess what? It's going out and it's assembling the API published by, guess who? Coupa. All right, so if I want to get a list of users, I'm going to say users, and I'm going to go down here and response type. Again, the parameters or the options that I see in this property sheet are a function of the operation that I'm doing and the capability of the thing that I'm working with. Since I'm doing a simple little demo here, I'm just going to say get users. Okay. You also saw that when I clicked in stuff over here that I got a little like green emblem indicating that everything's copacetic. Up here I have my little gear rotating, chugga, chugga, chugga. Okay, validated. Okay, so I have the minimum parameters required. And Gloriosity, Mr. Wizard, look at that. Get users, and I have this new icon here. What's that mean? So when I click on this, no matter what format the data is at the source, a CSV file, an XML document, a SOAP message, whatever it is, whatever format the data is at the source, as soon as SnapLogic touches it, it's automatically transformed into JSON. So I can read complex structures, or I can read simple flat files and manipulate them with ease. All right. Now, because it looked like it was tabular data, I could go ahead and just click on that. But if I go in here and I select JSON, and I just do an expand here, you'll see here that this shows you how the data actually looks in SnapLogic. Now, like the web, all right, we don't have 25 variations of number types. There are 3 data types in SnapLogic: string, number, sysdate, time. Everything else is easy. So it's loosely coupled, loosely typed, just like every other web application. So I'm going to get the users. Now, Iris, which is the suggested snap box on the right, is one of the manifestations of our artificial intelligence engine. What she does is she analyzes my particular behavior, my catalog, my history, as well as use of the platform at large. And, you know, we've got thousands of users, millions of pipelines, billions of executions on this platform over the years. So she has a pretty good sense of what works and what doesn't. And so what she's doing right now is she's recommending that I use the JSON splitter. Well, honey, I'm sorry, not this time. I want the JSON formatter, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write a quick little file to generate output. I'm going to go in here and get a file writer. And I'm just going to call this Coupa users.json. All right, so let's save that. It just should say, okay, so we want to make the pipeline self-documenting by changing the label. Okay, so the gear is rotating up here, so let's see what happens. All right, so I've gotten the users. I can write the Coupa users. All right, now let's do the same thing with Workday. So if I go into Workday, and I do a Workday read, again, now I'm going to need to have an account with Workday, so I'm going to use my personal account with Workday. I'm going to go into the service, and again, Workday uses a WSDL. It's this giant file that they have. And what we're doing is we're parsing it, and we're going in and we're selecting the service of staffing, and the object that we want to work with is we want to get applicants. All right, and because I want to change the size of the data file that I'm getting, or the preview data I'm getting, I'm going to cut this down a little bit and do 10 and 10, and I'm going to say Workday applicants. All right. So I'm going to show you something neat here. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to grab these 2 snaps here. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to paste them in there. Snap them on that. Now, it's not connected yet. Wait for it. Okay, there's the snap of SnapLogic. Now, obviously, this is going to have the same file name, and all I have to do is change that. Workday applicants. Okay. So now she's going. The platform's going out. It's getting the sample data. Now I have output from Coupa. Wait for it. There we go. Okay. So I can go ahead and just run these guys. All right, and this is an example of how easy it is to build an integration. So if you wanted to extract some data from Workday or Coupa or something else, or you wanted to maybe change it to an Excel spreadsheet or a flat file, or insert it into Oracle, all of that's there. So you can see here, 439 documents, 35 documents a second, or the amount of bytes that I created or processed. So you see here I have very detailed information. From the user perspective, I know the document count, I know the byte count, I know it worked, I'm a happy camper. If I am a technology person and I'm optimizing, doing big jobs, and I need to know, am I doing things exactly the best way? I can go in here and say, well, if I've got a lot of wait time, maybe I want to think about my design. Or I could ask Iris, and she would make some recommendations in terms of optimization and joins and how the order that you're doing things and whatnot. So you'll see here now that she's changed, that the pipelines have changed color to a deep green, indicating a successful execution. All right. So as you've seen, snaps are not just connectors. Everything in SnapLogic is a snap. So think of this as a visual development language, all right, that allows you to build a workflow of connecting to an application, processing the data, slicing, dicing, whatever you need to do to it on its way to its target. And so the ability for us to connect to Coupa and make it simple for Coupa to talk to things like Workday or any other application simply, without writing boatloads of code, spending huge amounts of time, and making your organization more agile and more user-friendly. Because, you know, in most organizations, unless you're in the software business, you're doing something else. You're servicing your customers, you're making widgets, you're doing whatever, and the existence of SnapLogic is to get the information from its source and put it in and either process it so you can do business or put it in the hands of users so they can do their jobs, analyzing things and all the rest of it. So here's an example of the integration that I talked about. This is a workflow that goes out and gets a purchase order from Workday and creates it in Coupa. And you'll see here it's dead set simple, all right? You go in here and you're getting the resource management, you're getting purchase orders, you know, we're mapping. Now this is, I'm just grabbing the whole thing and handing it off to Coupa, and here where I'm going to put this into the approvals, I do the execute. Now, when I do that, I'm going to get a response back from Coupa. How many POs did I put in? 1, 15, 205. Were there any errors? Were there any issues? The log file. So this guy right here, these two guys here, this file writer, this is just capturing the response from Coupa saying, oh, I created these POs or not, or somewhere in between. All right, so that's one example. All right, so here is reading a supplier, mapping a file to Coupa, and here's creating suppliers in Coupa. So the setup of Coupa. All right, here I'm taking the data from Coupa and I'm inserting it into SQL Server, SF SQL Server in this case. All right, now for the customer that is an established a Workday customer, here's an example of a production workflow. This is an actual workflow from a customer 5 years ago that would do 3 operations in one workflow against Workday, as well as insert into their Oracle database, create a ticket in ServiceNow, send an email to the new employee, do error processing. All of that has been in production for a number of years, and the customer sees the light, say, hey, you know, we could really benefit from using Coupa. Hey guys, how long is it going to take you to implement Coupa for new hires? Oh, about 5 minutes. All right, because as you see here, what I did was I extended the copy snap, sent a copy of the data to the mapper, and here I create the user in Coupa. So the ability for you to respond to customer requirements, business necessities, to be able to modify a process without spending days or weeks figuring it out is huge. That's the value proposition of this platform, ladies and gentlemen. Simply put, when you put an intelligent platform in the hands of smart people, get out of the way because stuff happens. Things happen. People do business. They provide solutions. They create value. They get work done. That's our thing. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll turn it back to our Master of Ceremonies on the Cool and let him jump into the next slide. So take it away, Nicole.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rich. That was fantastic. Thanks again for walking us through an awesome demo. I hope you guys all found it very helpful. So, you know, with that, I just kind of wanted to jump in a little bit into the pricing and packages. So, historically or typically, our packages are either project level or enterprise level. So, project level is typically for tactical initiatives or for small medium businesses that are looking to solve a whether it's a point-to-point integration or something on the smaller end. But anything bigger than that, it really kind of has to be on the enterprise level. So ideally it would be nice to understand the scope of the project and then make the decisions that way. However, we did add the Jumpstart package as part of this just to make it easy. So folks that have a need to connect Coupa and Workday, we do have a Jumpstart package that allows you to have that snap pack ability and get started quickly. And then if you need anything else outside of those, we can always entertain the project and enterprise level pricing. With that, Rich, I wanted to take a few minutes to answer some of the other questions. If you can maybe take those, and then we have 5 more minutes, and we'll take those out at the end.
Sure. All right. So we talked about how long does it take to implement your platform on average. All right. Do you have customers outside of the industries mentioned in the presentation? Well, from Astra, from Adobe through Workday. Okay. In full disclosure, Workday is not only a partner, but they're also a customer. After being subjected to using other technology and dealing with the constraints, lack of productivity, and costs associated with moving, right, they saw the light. And when they compared SnapLogic against their incumbent technology, the technology that they were using before SnapLogic took them, let's say 3 weeks on average from request to deployment of a production integration. After using SnapLogic during a pilot project, the same exact kind of functionality they were able to deploy in 3 to 5 days. Now, it doesn't take an MBA from Stanford to see the advantages of that technology. So for us, whether you're a service organization, whether you are a consulting firm, whether you are producing content, either intellectual or physical, we have heavy industry, oil and gas. So because we are the nervous system of a corporation, we provide value in allowing applications to communicate, for business to be done. Any business can use SnapLogic. So we are all over the world in just about every industry that you could imagine. Healthcare and pharma are big users of us. We've had 3 out of the 4 largest pharmaceutical companies on the planet use SnapLogic. As I said, heavy industry. We have a presence in the PAC Rim, very strong in Europe, South America. There's pretty much we're all over the globe. Do we have any pre-built templates to jumpstart Coupa integrations? Absolutely. Those are patterns that are being added to our community site. They're part of I believe they're part of the Jumpstart program. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole. But we have these templates that are simplifying the integration of SnapLogic and Coupa and anything else. Okay, finally, how do we differentiate ourselves from, MuleSoft and Informatica and Dell Boomi? All right. Well, when customers compare SnapLogic to MuleSoft, it is very much a different direction. Do you want to hire lots of developers and spend a lot of money and write ESB code to do transactions, and then buy 3 other tools to use for big data, to use for non-transactional business, to do your file transfers, to do your data lakes, to do your machine learning? So you'll need to buy MuleSoft and 3 other things to get the value and the capability of what SnapLogic provides. It's also going to take you 3, 4, 5, 12 times longer, and it's going to cost you a lot more money because the pricing model and the complexity of the thing means that it's going to take 3 weeks, not 3 days, to get something done. Informatica, well, the founder of SnapLogic, the chief, our VP of engineering is ex-SnapLogic, ex-Informatica. We're fairly comfortable with understanding what Informatica is today and what it was years ago. We are a hybrid cloud-centric technology that has the ability to embrace and to support legacy technology. And that's our stock and trade. We are not a perpetual licensed software, so in some cases, customers are able to transition from something like Informatica to SnapLogic for probably a little bit more than or about the same as what they're paying for just support for something like Informatica. So now, granted, if you're using traditional, on-prem, heavy iron, data warehouse kind of things, more than likely, unless the price is killing you, the chances are that there are things that Informatica does in the legacy data warehouse space that we don't do. And if that's your requirement for you, then that's great. But in most cases, customers are migrating from legacy technology to the cloud, and that's where we shine. Okay. Finally, Boomi. I run into them on occasion, mostly in the EDI space because that's their heritage. They can't handle the depth and breadth of functionality that we have. Again, it's that same model. What are you going to use to do your bulk data processing? What are you going to use for your advanced analytics? What are you going to use for Spark? What are you going to use for machine learning? You're going to need to buy 2, 3, 4 packages, again, to get the same level of functionality that SnapLogic offers. And we have replaced all 3 of these technologies over and over and over again. It's almost like an upgrade program where customers will buy MuleSoft, realize the error of their ways $1 million later, and then buy SnapLogic. Okay, so with that, I'll turn it back to you, Nicole.
Awesome, thank you, Rich. Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to take this moment to say, thank you again for joining, and I just wanted to do a short recap that we've learned a lot about not just SnapLogic, but how easy it is to use, how low-code, no-code it is, the solution itself, and any business citizen user can quickly jump on it and start using it, not to mention the productivity, the scalability, and the modern analytics piece. But all in all, I wanted to close out that the reason we were here is to really understand, how can we automate some of these processes around procure-to-pay and order-to-cash, and our Coupa Snap Pack and Workday Financial Snap Pack, along with Workday HCM, Workday Prism Analytics, all of those different capabilities will make your life extremely easy. Getting all of these systems connected is not easy, but it is very, very, very easy with SnapLogic. So with that, if you have any questions, if you guys have any follow-up items that you'd like to connect with us on, here's my contact information. My name is Nicole Mistry. My email is nmistry@snaplogic.com. Or you can email the entire partner team, and we are here to assist with any questions and help that you guys might have. But we really look forward to hearing from you. We really look forward to connecting all of your enterprise and automating all of your processes around Coupa and Workday and many others. Doesn't matter what application you're trying to connect. We can connect anytime, any point, anywhere, any volume. But thank you so much again, guys. Really appreciate your time. Have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Nicole.